You got your insurance card. You don't have a seatbelt on. So how about this? Let's restart. How about you don't give me a reason to stop you? You ever heard of that before? So wear your seatbelt and you won't get pulled over. It's a very simple task. If you don't
wear yours?
Absolutely. Did you not just see it on? I had it on in the parking lot.
You're exempt.
Awesome. Give me your insurance card.
I don't have it on me.
No, that's another one. Be right back with you.
Yeah, right.
But y'all got a rap on this joker, don't you?
Huh?
Y'all got a rap on this joker, don't
Hey,
you?
man.
What's up?
You got a complaint form on you?
Nah, I don't.
This is this keeps pulling me over every time I come to gas.
That's fine. If you would, hop out and go have a seat on this hood, please. You ain't got no weapons, nothing like that on you?
No.
Thank you. Just walk back there. Just have a seat on the freaking hood. Have a seat on the hood.
This off of me.
Have a seat on the hood.
Hey, 95.
Thank you. Put your hand money back.
Listen since I pulled you over.
Why y'all gotta be a gang? Why y'all gotta be thugs,
Yeah,
bro?
why can't you listen?
Why y'all gotta be thugs?
Why can't you listen?
I asked you to get a
Why
knife, brother.
can't you listen?
I asked you to get a knife. You asked me if I had a weapon. Shut up.
Alright, what's up guys? We have a video that we're going to put together. We're going to interview this man. All of this happened over a seatbelt infraction, so let me read to you what I wrote down. Police tackle Tyler to the ground, jump on him, choke him, tase him, lay on him, and physically brutalize him. Let's not forget arrest him and throw him in a cage, all because he wouldn't let the cops turn presumed authority into unbridled power. At the end of the day, all charges were dropped. A lawsuit will be filed and the people will have to pay for this atrocious behavior because these cops will more than likely be justified and their umbrella of protection will allow them, as well as other cops, to continue this type of behavior. When police are not held accountable for these types of actions, it becomes a free-for-all for bad cops to flourish. And this is why we're seeing police brutality every single day in America. The people have lost faith in policing. The police earn the hate yet again. The funny thing is, cops act oblivious as to why the people hate them. Today we'll be looking at this video and we'll also be interviewing Tyler to get the rundown and follow up to what's happening.
Hey, is that your boyfriend?
No, that is my husband.
Your husband has really bad listening problems.
Yeah, that's because you.
So
you
he's going to catch
with him. That's okay.
What's his? I don't even know the guy.
His name's Tyler, but
So,
you've done this to him several different.
Well,
this isn't the first
here's
time
the deal.
you've
If he'd
done
stop giving me a reason to stop him, he wouldn't get pulled over. I don't even recognize him.
Okay, well.
I stop hundreds of cars
that's
a year.
Okay, but
so.
did you give him a seatbelt ticket?
I was working on it, but he won't listen. Yeah, but now he's going to catch you on charge.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll let you call when he's bonded out.
Yeah.
Hey, you got? Yeah, if he would just shut up and. Okay, I think you take that one. No, not right now. Absolutely not. No, just sit in your car.
Am I free to go?
No, yeah, you're free to go. Get out of here.
Hey, you want me to drive?
Don't talk. You don't have to talk to me that way.
This is Tyler, and he's the gentleman that's in the video. And the cops pulled him over a seatbelt infraction, and they pretty much brutalized this guy. And so, Tyler, do you want to introduce yourself and let us know what happened?
Yeah, my name's Tyler Murkerson. I mean, this wasn't my first encounter with the contact officer. His demeanor is very unprofessional. He has a smart way of saying different things, and he likes to escalate situations in their entirety altogether. I mean, you want me to go through the whole scene, or?
Yeah, give us a rundown of what happened, man. So this is not the first time you've encountered this cop. So what were the other encounters that you've had with him?
I mean, there was a time that I got pulled over for window tint. Like, I seen him sitting at the gas station. I came up to a stop sign. I used my blinker. I turned left. I wasn't speeding. I wasn't weaving. I wasn't anything. I came up close to where he was. I put my right turn signal on. I turned right. He immediately jumps behind me, blue lights me, pulls me over. As he's coming up to the window, I was already kind of stressed because I own an automotive shop. And the previous day I had damaged the door on a car that I had to pay for, and it was like almost $2,000 worth of damage. So I was already on edge about that and stressing about that and how I was going to pay for everything. And I mean, gladly I got that situation taken care of. But besides the point, I was still in a bad, I guess you'd say, state of mind right then, because I was stressing about that pretty much in its entirety. But anyways, he gets behind me, he blue lights me. I'm upset. He comes to the window. I ask him why in the fuck he pulled me over, and he just goes on this rant. He pulls me out of the car. He puts me in handcuffs. He says he's searching my car. I said, I don't give you consent to search anything. He ends up doing it anyways. After the fact, after he searched everything, he ends up letting me and my wife go. No kind of tickets at all. We leave. Then I start getting followed. He's sitting at the gas station. He sits like a quarter mile from my house at this gas station all the time. I start getting followed multiple times on multiple different occasions. And then this incident happens. This incident was on February 6th. I'm going to work. My wife's behind me in my car, which is the first car that he ever pulled over. As we're leaving, we come up to this stop sign. We do the left turn. He's sitting at the gas station, plain as day. I can see him. So I'm coming up. My gas light's on, so I have to stop and get fuel because I got 20 minutes to work. I won't make it to work if I don't stop to get fuel. So as I come in, he's parked about, I would say like 10 feet, somewhere between 10 and 15 feet off of the roadway, facing the roadway, okay? So when I come into the parking lot, I have to come up and kind of go around him. And as I came into the parking lot, obviously I took my seatbelt off because I'm fixing to get out and pump gas into my vehicle, like literally fixing to get out of my truck and pump the gas into it. So he whoops around, does a U-turn in the parking lot as I come by him, and blue lights me at the gas pumps. So when I passed him, we both saw each other through the windshield. I saw him, he saw me, I knew it was him, he knew it was me, you know, and that was very upsetting for me because at this point, you know, I kind of know that you're only doing this to mess with me. So I got out of the truck and I asked him why he kept messing with me, which he got out of his vehicle at the same time. And he told me to get back in the effing truck. And I said, I will. I'd just like to know why you keep messing with me.
I'm filing a complaint. You know what badge number?
184 Deputy Tier.
What's your name?
I just said it. Can you hear me? Deputy Tier.
Obviously I can't.
It'll be on your ticket. Hold on one second.
Right.
130. 130. Now 25 when you're done.
And he said, get back in the truck. So I got back in the truck, and he come up to the window and he says, I pulled you over for no seatbelt. And I said, okay. And then I asked him, does he wear his? And because they're exempt from all of these things, and I really don't understand why they're exempt from any of the laws that we as people have to follow. Like, they shouldn't be above any of the laws at all. If you want to know, in my opinion, if you want to know the true sovereign citizens, it's the police, in my opinion. But anyways, he asked me, did I have my license on me? I said yes. I give him my license. He said, do you have proof of insurance on you? I said, I don't have it on me. He said, well, that's another ticket. And the way he said it was just like he couldn't, he wanted to be able to give me like something else. It wasn't like, well, man, you know, you really need to have that. It wasn't any of that. It was like, well, that's another ticket. Like, great, I got you on something else type deal. So he goes back to his vehicle. I hang my head out the window. I think I said he got like 20 minutes to do the traffic stop. Anything longer than that, he was violating my rights. I told him I was filing a complaint on him. I wanted his badge number, different things of that nature. After a couple minutes, a backup officer arrives on scene. He comes to my window and he says, we had a wrap on our truck, and I said, hey man, do you have a complaint form on you? I want to file a complaint. And he said, no, I don't have one on me. I said, well, this officer right here has pulled me over every time I come to this fucking gas station. And he said, that's fine. Do you have any weapons on you? And I said, no.
Hey, he's being have him step out and sit on my car. Hey, 95, I'm done with his ass. 95. You ain't listened since I pulled you over.
He said, all right, can you get out and go sit on that officer's bumper? And I was like, okay. So I got out. I walked back to this bumper, and I sit down on the bumper. They don't make it an effort to make it known that I actually did sit down on the bumper. But I sat down on the bumper. As I did, I put my hands in my pockets, and I realized that I had my pocket knife in my pocket. And so in my head, I had just told this one officer that, no, sir, I don't have any weapons. And now I have just realized that that was incorrect, that I do have a weapon, a pocket knife, and it's in my pocket. And considering what has transpired already and how heated the scene is at this point, I said, well, the best thing for me to do at this point is to get the officer's attention that asked me if I had any weapons and explain to him that I do have a weapon, and to try and get him to come get the weapon off of me, because I don't want to be considered armed in this encounter here. So I stood up because he was still at the passenger window of my truck. I took 2 steps forward. You'll hear one of the officers try to say that I continued walking up on him, which is not true. If you look at the videos, I took 2 steps and I never moved another inch towards that officer. I practically begged him. At one point, you'll even hear me say, please, please just come get this knife off of me. And eventually he does. He kind of semi-aggressively charges at me, and he does retrieve the knife. When he retrieves the knife, I said, thank you. And I turn, and he's kind of ushering me towards the bumper to sit on the bumper again. And that's when the other officer gets out. Now, they tried to play this like me going back to sit on the bumper was me pulling away, but they hadn't said anything to me at that point. Okay? The other officer gets out of the car. He said, that's it. I'm done with his ass. 95 him. I have no idea what 95 is. I didn't know I was, quote unquote, being arrested. The officer that I was complaining about grabs my left arm and snatches it, and this other officer still has a hold of my right arm, my right wrist. And when that officer snatches my left arm, I think that was his intent in snatching my arm, was to make it look as if I pulled away, when I never did at any point. Because in my head, if you're arresting me and you're putting my arms behind my back, why are you snatching my arm to the front? But wouldn't you be moving my arms towards the back of me? Because one officer has one arm, one officer has my other arm at this point. Y'all are in control of both of my arms.
Do you believe that that was a tactic to be able to use physical force against you?
I believe that they set the whole thing up. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I believe they used code to communicate without the suspect knowing what was going on in order to catch him off guard in a fashion that his instincts would kick in to prevent bodily harm to himself. And at that point, they would be able to use whatever force they wanted to use. So I don't believe that I'm the first person. I don't believe that it's only a handful of people that they have done this to. And I say that simply because I called internal affairs in this department, and I was told that they needed permission from the head of the traffic division in order to investigate my complaints, which didn't make a whole lot of sense. And I said, so you're telling me that you need permission from the division that did the crime in order to investigate them? That'd be like the government asking me, you know, hey, can we investigate you for this crime right here that we think you committed? Can we invest? And I'd say no. Obviously, I would say, no, we didn't do anything wrong. You know, so it's just not a good look at all in any aspect. But as soon as he snatches my left arm, the officer on my right tries to slam me like full force, face first into the concrete. And that was simultaneous almost. Like as soon as the officer on my left snatched my left arm, he was trying to get me face first into the concrete. And when he did, anytime somebody attacks someone, that person that's getting attacked is going to have an instinctual reaction to that. There's no thought process to it. There's no, hey, this is what's going on. Should I do this? Your body's going to take control, and your body's going to react instantly. That is instincts kicking in. And there's nothing you can do about that. Your body's going to do it on its own with no input from you whatsoever to try to protect itself. So when they tried to slam me face first into the concrete, then I did my best to maintain my balance so that I didn't get my face slammed into the concrete. Between that, them trying to slam me to the concrete, and you'll see in the video that me and this bigger officer are standing kind of face to face, and he actually grabs me in a headlock while we're standing up. Now at this point, there's been enough time for some wheels to turn in my head, some thought processes to happen and everything, because I was in fight or flight mode. I just hadn't started fighting at all up to this point. And so I had a decision to make, because it was like, bam, Tyler, it's two police. So I stopped. I did my hands like this. They still, I never swung at any officers. I stopped my fight or flight before I hit anybody. I never did any aggressive actions towards them. They still kicked my bad leg out from underneath me. The bigger cop gets on my chest, pins my arms between me and him, buries his forearm in my throat, while the officer that I was complaining about is tasing me in my left shoulder. The whole time they're laughingly telling me to put my hands behind my back when I'm smushed against the concrete by a 250-pound officer on my chest, and my arms are pinned between me and him. So he very well knows that I cannot put my arms behind my back. I can't even verbally communicate to him that, sir, I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. I can't even say that because he's choking me and I can't breathe. When you do hear my gargled voice at one point, that's because he's starting to kind of let off. Before that, there was no saying anything.
At what point did they tase you?
While I was being choked on the ground. If you'll notice, the first officer that I complained about, he pulls his taser out from the very first second of this incident, and he fumbles his taser on the ground, or else he would have tased me from second one.
Did the prongs actually hit you? I mean, did the tasing actually?
They drive stunned me.
So they stuck it to you, and
yeah.
How bad was that, man?
I mean, in the heat of the moment with the adrenaline, I probably didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. It did hurt. I mean, I felt it, but if I was actually trying to fight, I don't think it would have stopped me. Not the drive stun. The prongs may be different, but the drive stun, I don't think, not with all the adrenaline that was pumping right then and the situation. Like, I was in fear for my life at that point. So, because I honestly thought when he was choking me that he wasn't going to stop. Like that, my life flashed before my eyes while he was choking me and I was getting tased. So the taser, I don't think my mind paid very much attention to the taser, but I do have scars on my left shoulder where he tased me. And if I remember it like a really bad bee sting, like it hurt, but it wasn't like incapacitating.
After that happened, what happens next?
They start calling me names, dumbass, several other things. They pick me up, they put me on the hood of the police car. I basically ask them why they done that, because all I wanted them to do was get a knife off of me. I tell them that they have a lawsuit coming. They don't too much seem to care about that, which is kind of funny to me. but they kind of laugh that off. He tells my wife at one point, hey, record this, and when we're done, let me get your cell phone.
Hey, get this on video, please. And that's fine. Let me get your cell phone when we get done, okay? Just hold on.
I got a lawsuit coming.
So he threatened my wife that he was going to go forcibly remove her cell phone after the incident so that he could delete whatever footage she had on the phone at that time. You'll hear throughout the whole situation, like when they're talking to me, the bigger officer swears on his life that this guy told me I was under arrest, which is not true. He never did. You can watch the video. We have all the video. He never said you're under arrest. And my biggest problem with this incident was nobody gave me an opportunity to turn around and comply with them and put my hands behind my back and go peacefully.
And what you were doing the whole time was trying to keep yourself safe because you didn't want them to think that you had a knife and was going to use it. When it looks like you kind of lifted your shirt and let them know, like, I got a knife right here. I
did, yeah. I never touched it. I lifted my shirt up. I pointed to it. I was like, hey, man, I do got a knife. You know, I wasn't being aggressive in any means of the word. I was doing my best to, in my head, kind of de-escalate the situation, because at that point I had said, no, I don't. Had they had seen a knife and, you know, at the same time knowing that I told them that I don't have any weapons, they would have spun that a whole different way. In my head, you know, that's what I'm thinking. You know, if they see this knife at this point, they're going to try to say, oh, he's got a knife, you know, X, Y, Z. And that's all it takes these days. All they have to say is, hey, he's got a gun, he's reaching for a knife, you know, whatever, and all of a sudden they're shooting you. Or there is a huge sign of aggressive, you know, force on you that they use, which they used a lot of force on me, and I firmly believe that the use of force that they used against me was completely unwarranted in every aspect. We do get back in the patrol car, and we go on the ride to the jail, and this officer admits that, you know, he's pulling the same people over all the time. He admits that he claims that I got beat up because I resisted, which only leads you to believe that he's done this to multiple people, not just one, because he's kind of got this rhythm to him, this like he's done this plenty of times type deal. He also goes 78 miles an hour in a 55 mile an hour zone on the way to the jail with no lights, no sirens, no emergency. I know they're exempt from the hands-free law because Georgia has a hands-free law, but he's typing on the computer while we're driving 78 on a 2-lane highway that's 55. I'm arrested in handcuffs in the back seat with no seatbelt on. Imagine that.
Kind of hypocritical, huh?
It's very hypocritical. And he's using his cell phone. The drive goes on, and he ends up saying that he's not a robot. He doesn't know what people are going to do. He admits that basically that he never tells anybody that they're under arrest because that gives them a head start. Then they know what's going on. So that again ties into, okay, well, either y'all were trained to do it this way, or you and your buddy have just been doing this to people repeatedly. But in my opinion, you should tell every citizen, hey, sir, you know, we're going to have to place you under arrest. Can you turn around and put your hands behind your back, please?
Isn't that their policy, that they have to tell you that you're under arrest?
It should be. And the fact that they're so hard-pressed on saying, oh, I know he said it. He said it. You might not have heard him say it, but he said it. Kind of lead you to think that, yes, that is their policy, and they violated that policy. But even after IA said that they would not investigate it, he supposedly sent an email off. I got another call from a use of force training officer at the jail. He said that he himself and 3 other use of force officers had viewed that incident and found no wrongdoing by the officers. And he said that he didn't know where I was getting my information from as far as how long he choked me, that it wasn't initially from the gas station footage. I put it at around 10 seconds. Rewatching the gas station footage, it's about 8 or 9 seconds that he actually physically chokes me. And he said, I don't know where you're getting your information from. He said, because when I watched the video, he said it's more like 2 seconds. So maybe you need to start talking like you got some sense. And I mean, just the demeaning attitude throughout this entire situation from this police department, from the sheriff's department, is just unreal at this point. You know, the lieutenant, well, sir, you were fighting. Brother, I wasn't fighting. Had I been fighting, they probably would have killed me on scene. You know, if that were true, and I was punching and fighting your officers, and the minute I got a leg up on them, if I was able to, they would have shot me. They would have shot me. So that's not a very smart thing to do, fight the police, and I'm not going to do that because I have a wife, I have a daughter, I have a whole automotive shop that I run. I'm not willing to die out here to fight the police. That's just, I'm not doing that. And for all of these different officers to try to spin it that way just means that they're just trying to cover it up. You could clearly see from the footage that there was no fight to this.
So they're trying to turn, first they brutalize you, police brutality, and now they're going into full cover-up mode. Does that sound about right?
Oh, that's exactly what they're doing. And the officer that I had complained about, when we get into the jail, he turns his body camera off. And he says, I'm telling you right now, off camera, he said, if you fight these charges, we're going to up them to felony charges. And I said, so you're trying to intimidate me in the jail off camera to not fight my charges? And he said, I'm not trying to intimidate you, I'm just telling you what's going to happen. And he said, what I'm trying to say, and then he gave an example of where they've done that to somebody. And I have all that on video because I requested the video from inside the jail that actually had audio. So I got that conversation on record. If you look at Georgia Transparency's video at the end of it, he has that section in there where he threatens me that they're going to up my charges if I fight it in court.
Ask your license, I have a right to have it, and you say no, I need to jail, so I'm not going to charge you for fighting. I ain't going to let you know if this goes to trial. This is not up to me. There is a chance if you take this to trial, which is your right, the district attorney can jump the charge of the felony for the part on trial. They have the right to do that. We have the highest law enforcement in the county. So I'm just saying that kind of like, I'm clear. I'm clear. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is I'm telling you that to look out for you, not to scare you. I'm just telling you that. I'm giving you an example. I had a DUI trial one time, and I walked in, and they're like, yeah, there's fines being charged, like threat maintain lane, DUI less safe, DUI .08, and I'm like, I got charged with one DUI. The district attorney jumped off 2 or 3 more DUIs to fit the code section for the charge. So my DUI stuck, and they tried to put another DUI on. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if that was to happen, that's not me. I'm not putting additional charges. I'm just doing listening instruction and seatbelt. So I just want to make sure you're clear that I'm not, if that was to happen. Now, I'm not saying it would. It's not like something that always happens. I'm just saying that. Understand, what I'm trying to tell you is that if you're not being a public defender, if you work and you buy an attorney, you spend 10 grand on an attorney, and then you go to court and you're like, well, you got more charges. That's not for me. That's for the courthouse because they have to pay for the jury and everything. So,
which to me is intimidation of a witness to a crime, plus the sheriff's department is actively giving out legal advice to people to not fight their charges in court.
You seem to be pinpointing exactly what's happening, what has happened to you. You can't say that you're lying because you have it all on video. You have it proof in the transport to the jail. Do you mention it to the cop at all that you don't have a seatbelt on in the back seat?
I did not. No.
You did not. You know, you seem to. Well, obviously, when it's on camera. I'm guessing. I'm looking at the video now on my iPad, and it shows you in the back seat not wearing the seatbelt, and I'm guessing they closed the door. That'll show the proof, I guess, that they never put the seatbelt on you.
Right. Well, if you watch through the whole thing, they take me all the way to the hospital eventually. That officer did not want to take me to the hospital at all. He tries several different times to get out of taking me to the hospital. He pulls up to the jail and he calls the lieutenant on his phone. And the lieutenant's like, no, take him to the hospital, get him cleared. And then he does finally eventually takes me on to the hospital. And when we get to the hospital, you see me get out of the back of the patrol car with no seatbelt. And you see him have to help me hobble inside because this knee, I shattered it in 2009 in a bike accident. I hit a car head on. And I got rods and metal cable wrapped around it. And so I couldn't even put any pressure on that leg at this point. So he had to help me all the way into the hospital and put me in a wheelchair.
When I spoke to you on the phone, you said something to me that I seem to be hearing a lot of from, you know, folks that are starting channels and stuff. You said these cops created an auditor. And, you know, that's happening everywhere now. And it's not the fact that people just hate cops and people want to go out there and record cops and make them look bad. First of all, you're a business owner. You're a hardworking man. You're not out committing crimes. You're not out creating victims. You're not out doing anything. You're married. It sounds like you have a family in the background. You even have a dog,
yes,
if I'm not mistaken. I heard a dog.
I have 4 chihuahuas, man. They're monsters.
Wow. So you're obviously a caring person. You're a hardworking person. You're just one of the people trying to do right. You know, in your life, you're not out doing anything wrong, anything bad. You're not, like I said, you're not creating victims. But here we have 2 cops that need to have job security, that need to, when they don't find somebody committing crimes, they're just sitting there doing nothing. So they have to go out of their way to find someone that's doing something bad or whatever, and they're going to try and enforce these policies or whatnot. And from what I've seen on the video and from what you've said, you don't seem to skew anything. You don't try to sprinkle in bullshit with facts. You basically telling everything that happened to you and why you believe that your rights were violated. From looking at the video, I don't see anything that you did wrong. Could you have complied with the cop to make his job easier? Sure. But you chose to do the right thing to keep yourself safe and the cop safe.
Well, I mean, this is how I see it on that aspect. Like, I'm worried about my safety at the end of the day. You know, whatever I got to do to be safe is what I'm going to do. And then, let's say I get pulled over and the officer says, hey, man, go stand in the street right there, and there's a semi coming. I'm not going. I'm not going, bro. Like,
right.
I'm not going. Because that's a complete disregard for my safety at that point, which would make your order an unlawful order in my eyes. Just like commanding me to sit on the bumper of a police car of a deputy that's been harassing me while I'm armed, in my head is a complete disregard of my safety at that point, which would constitute that your order is unlawful.
So at this point, all charges have been dropped, right?
Yes.
Not even the seatbelt infraction? that's been dropped as well. Did they even cite you for that?
He did cite me for it, and you know the funny thing is if you watch my video, he prints and issues that ticket at 8:45. Right at 8:48, I'm getting my ass whooped.
Wow.
So he waited for almost 3 minutes for his buddy to get there so that they could assault me together even after he issued my ticket.
Have you found an attorney to file a lawsuit?
Yeah, I did.
Has that lawsuit already been filed?
It has.
Good.
Well, I don't know if he's filed it yet, but I do have an attorney that's going to represent me on this.
And since then, you started a channel. Your channel is called Accountability Matters. Folks of you that are watching, I'm definitely going to drop his channel link in the description and in the pinned comment. Let's blow this guy's channel up because he definitely did not deserve this. Like I said earlier, he's a hardworking man. He's a family man. I mean, he has dogs, for crying out loud. He takes care of his dogs and his family. He has a business, and he's just trying to do right, you know, by his family. He's trying to do right, you know, not create victims along the way. And here we see some deputies who go out of their way to brutalize him over a seatbelt infraction that they say, which at the end of the day was dropped. And Tyler, man, you have the floor. Let us know. You know, you're welcome to say anything you like. What would you like to? What would be the outcome that you would like to see?
I mean, at this point, because even after I got released from the jail, I went to the sheriff's department multiple occasions and spoke with the lieutenant in this matter and tried to get them to discipline the officers, to make some new training requirements on de-escalation and dealing with people that were aggravated. Not necessarily, because being aggravated and being aggressive are two different things. I have every right to be aggravated at a situation. I have every right to be upset at an encounter that I have with a law enforcement officer. I have freedom of speech. I can say anything that I want to say as long as I'm not actively threatening you, your life, your partner. I mean, you can't do anything to me for anything that I say other than if I'm threatening you, like with physical harm. And I didn't want to do that to either one of them. I'm not a dangerous person. I'm not out here running the streets in a gang or any of this. I literally stay in an automotive shop Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I even work on Grantville's police cars, which is the city where my automotive shop is, which is in Coweta County. So, just see the irony in that, you know. I put police cars on the road and I'm getting assaulted by another police agency. I mean, it just doesn't make sense sometimes how the world is, honestly.
Do you believe that these cops should be fired?
I believe they should be fired. I believe they should be held to the same standard that me or you would be held to. If I did that to somebody, it would be aggravated assault. Not only did they just assault me, they falsified police reports. They falsely imprisoned me, false imprisonment. They intimidated a witness to a crime. And the leadership is getting behind them. Oh yeah, this needs to be our story right here. This needs to be what we tell everybody. You know, this is what happened right here. Something needs to happen with them. They definitely don't need to be in the leadership roles because they're just as bad as these two officers. If they can't have honesty and integrity to them when they're dealing with the public and say, you know what, sir, you're right, this was messed up, and we're going to handle it, and we're going to be transparent about it, and they're more than likely going to get charged with these crimes. Just because you work with them every day doesn't somehow mean that, they're above the law. I mean, what they did was wrong. What they did was assault, and they should be charged with that.
I agree. We're definitely gonna drop the information on this video as well. We'll include it there. We'll put the names and badge numbers, the department, email, Facebook if they have one, their phone number. You guys could redress your grievances with, you know, how do you say the Coweta County?
It's Coweta.
Coweta County, and
Yep,
this is
Coweta
the
County.
this is the sheriff department, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we're definitely gonna drop all the information for you guys, as well as Accountability Matters YouTube channel. Let's help blow his channel up, guys. Let's let these cops know that Tyler is not alone. That we have his back, and that the people are watching. And
I just don't want them to do this to anybody else. So
right, and the people now, because these cops are being highlighted, they're gonna start paying attention to every single thing that is happening in that department. Now they got a spotlight on them. As far as the deputies as well, I'm sure the people are gonna start looking into their background, see what kind of incidents they have in the past as well. And we do have people on our team that sometimes go into these departments, and they look at YouTube videos, Facebook videos. We find out as much as we possibly can about these deputies, who they are, and what they may be doing in their personal lives as well, because sometimes these cops are being hired, and they seem to not really do a thorough background check on who they're hiring. And this is the kind of shit that we see out here when cops believe that presumed authority should be unbridled power, and that's exactly the way these deputies behaved when they brutalized Tyler in this video, in this situation. So like I said, you guys definitely go subscribe to Tyler's channel, Accountability Matters. Let's help blow his channel up. And Tyler, I want to thank you for, you know, letting us interview you and telling your story on here. And I also believe that these deputies should definitely be fired, and that department should show some integrity, and because this is the type of incident that makes people lose trust in policing. You know, one of the comments that we get a lot is police earn the hate, and this is exactly why. And of course, cops are in certain situations, but when they do the cover up, that's exactly how they lose trust and they earn the hate.
That's what I'm getting at. The lies through this whole encounter, and to put those lies on a police report against me in a criminal case is just mind-blowing.
We have seen in the past that cops usually don't get fired for brutalizing, beating people up, but lying on the report is grounds for termination. We've seen it several times where cops retaliate against other cops or something, and they use that, you know, falsifying reports as grounds for termination. So I think the people definitely have a reason to be upset about this video. You absolutely have every reason to be upset, and you should not be, you should not be harassed. You should not be followed, and the cops should not. They're supposed, they have protect and serve. They propagate for this and that, but in reality, this is not protecting and serving. This is brutalizing the people, the town, and losing trust and losing faith in the people, earning the hate, and it's just sickening, man. It's sickening to see what happened to you, and I'm sorry that happened to you. And this is why I think that us coming together and talking, interviewing, filing these lawsuits, and one of the things that sucks about these lawsuits is the fact that the funds comes from the constituents. It doesn't actually come from the pockets of these cops, and I believe that something should change regarding that as well. I believe that cops should have some kind of insurance that they get penalized for it.
I would say the insurance, because insurance will get rid of dirty cops faster than anybody else. Once they have so many claims against them, they're gonna say, you know what, we can't insure you anymore. We're gonna drop you. And then there goes being a police. You're done. So yeah, I would agree with that. The insurance makes a lot of sense, because that's gonna be a level of accountability through the insurance company, and once you get to a certain threshold, they're going to cut you loose.
I want to give a huge shout out to Georgia Transparency, the civil rights lawyer. Both of those channels have shared your story. They did a really good job covering it. And is there any other channels that covered it that you know of?
The audit is doing one. He said it would take about 3 weeks to get it done. So if you want to be on the lookout for that, there will be an the audit video coming out on it as well.
Let's hope the audit doesn't give these cops an A+, because they don't deserve it. Tyler, sorry that happened to you, man. We have each other's phone numbers. Let's definitely keep in touch. Let us know what goes on with this lawsuit. We'll definitely do a follow-up as well, with the outcome of what happens. You have any last words for the people that are watching right now?
Just stand strong against corruption. I mean, it's getting worse, and I mean, stand up. I mean, the people have to fight back on this. If we don't, then, there's a saying out there, either use your rights or lose them. I mean, and that's pretty truthful. I mean, if you don't exercise your rights, then you won't even know that they're gone when they're gone.
I agree 100%. And I'll say this, okay, from talking to you, speaking to you, and viewing the incident, you seem very coherent. You don't seem like a bad dude. You don't seem like you're out to hurt anyone. You don't seem like
The deputy even says on the way to the jail, "You're not a bad guy. I know you're not a bad. I deal with really bad guys, and you're not a bad guy." But they assaulted me.
So in other words, they're willing to do this to anyone.
Right. For anything.
Right. Well, shit, Tyler. Like I said, sorry this happened to you, man. But bad cops create new auditors, and I hope you continue to work on your channel. If you need any help, behind the scenes, man, learn how to edit, learn how to do things. I can help you with that as well. You have my phone number. Let's definitely keep in touch.
Absolutely.
And with that, folks, we're going to go ahead and end the interview. And thank you, Tyler, for giving us your time.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one, okay?
All right. I'll shoot you a text after this, bro.
All right, bro.
Alright, folks, so my final thoughts on this video, on this interview. Tyler just looks like a good dude. He looks like a good man, trying to do the right thing. And, and these cops are out there pulling him over, harassing him. And cops are supposed to be professional at all times. It's in their policy. And when we file complaints, it's important that we pinpoint exactly what policy they're violating, what they're doing wrong, because if not, they're just going to throw it out. And in my opinion, I've seen these cops violate several policies. And they're losing the trust, they're earning the hate, undoubtedly. And I don't believe that Tyler deserved to be treated this way. The cops just wanted to have that power. They want people to just comply. And they propagate for that often. Just comply, just comply, just comply. And the people should not just comply, because cops are throwing unlawful orders out daily, all the time. And if the people just comply, if you just comply, you make it hard for everyone else. When you stand up for your rights, you stand up for the rights of everybody. And that's what Tyler did. He stood up for everyone's rights. He did not just comply, and he, at the same time, he stood up and wanted to keep himself safe, and the cops took that as him being non-compliant. They, like I said, they brutalized him. You seen what they did? They tased him, they choked him, they locked him in a cage. And I hope he gets paid. Sadly, it's going to come from the taxpayers in the city. And that's why the people of that town or that city, they should be extremely upset about this. I'd like to see some of you guys go into the city council meeting and address this. If you do, record it and send your video to recordpolicenow@gmail.com. I don't want this incident to die down, and I don't want to see these cops, these specific cops, I don't want to see them do that to anybody else. And we need to get rid of cops like this. You know, and these are deputies, okay? What are they trying to act like the deputies in Los Angeles who started a gang or many different gangs, right? And all of you that are out there in law enforcement, you should take a stand against this. You should, just like you guys create these massive, you know, parades for when a cop dies, you guys should do the same thing when cops brutalize people. Stand up against this, because bad cops are giving you a bad name. And there's a reason why people don't trust you. There's a reason why people flip you off when they drive by. That is the reason. It's not because 100% of the people out there are bad. Now, I know that not everybody flips you off because many folks are afraid of you guys. This is the culture that you guys want. This is what you guys allow by not standing up against bad cops. Start doing the right thing. And you guys go subscribe to Tyler's channel, Accountability Matters. You guys can see it up there. We'll drop the link in the description and in the pinned comment. And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.